As always, we are using the lens in question for this intro on the S20, shooting 6.2K open gate. We'll see what I do in the edits. Wide open, ridiculously close, but yeah, how's it faring? We're going to get a lot of random test samples on the go. As you can probably guess, we're on holiday, so it's going to be a lot of travel stuff in and around Bulgaria. It is a little awkward shooting this focal length for the whole trip, but anyway, bear with me. It's all in the name of testing, but by the magic of editing, we're going to go back to the studio and look at it up close, then get the samples on the go, the waffle, my thoughts, and then more importantly, it'll be over to you in the comment section. So before I get too carried away with this ridiculous minimum focusing distance, is it even on me? Yeah, let's crack on. Yeah, it's all right, that. Not bad at all. Only weighs 215 grams. Has weather resistance. Get that back on. Nice little snap cap there. 62mm filter thread. Minimum focus distance of 18 centimeters. Do like that. 0.07 times magnification. Comes with this little hood there. Of course, we can use filters with it thanks to that filter thread. I do like it. Barely feel any weight, but it's got that really nice clicky aperturing with the auto mode, which I don't use myself. It's always good to use a Fujifilm lens after using a whole load of third-party stuff, because nothing feels better than that when it comes to aperture rings. Manual focusing, it is what it is. I'm not really going to be using it much with this one. 12mm full frame equivalent, very challenging on the holiday that you're seeing in the samples. 121 degree angle of view. Now, I have set myself a bit of a challenge only traveling with this, but hey, I think it's fun, and let's hope the weather resistance isn't being tested too much, as happened to me in Turkey recently. Yeah, that is that. Having used this lens now on my 7-day family holiday in Bulgaria, and before and after here back home in England, all is good on the build and handling front. Honestly, it's what we'd expect from a Fujifilm XF lens, even down to the occasionally awkward lens hood. Seriously though, I've got no real complaints. Typically, the aperturing performs really well. The manual focus, not so well, but one, it's not so critical with this focal length, and two, I hardly use manual focus on these lenses anyway. Autofocus is good enough, and that's testing it with the S20, which we'll talk about in another video. Now, clearly this has been marketed with the S20 for vloggers in mind, but I did have a few failed face detection videos and typically stabilization wobbles common to ultra wide lenses on the Fujifilm system, so not ideal. Yes, I'd prefer f2.8 OIS and maybe an AF/MF switch, maybe, but after all this time with the lens, I haven't missed any of those features. Sharpness in the center is excellent. Not bad moving away, but it's not so amazing at the edges. Color rendering and contrast, excellent. Vignetting and distortion are the two standout flaws, let's say, with this lens. Disappointingly, vignetting is very noticeable, wide open at f3.5, and it takes a little stopping down to clear that up. The distortion basically writes the lens off as a, let's say, serious real estate option, unless you're handy at manual corrections. On the plus side though, chromatic aberration seems to be well looked after, as does fringing. Flare is also well controlled, and stopping down produces some okay sun stars. Finally, bokeh. You can throw out the background. It's not the best. However, with the minimum focus distance being 18 centimeters, you can get some pretty fun shots, and the out of focus areas aren't that bad. I am a fan of ultra wide lenses, and yes, they should be used sparingly, not for the entirety of a trip like I did, but it's fun, almost fisheye style fun without the extreme distortion. And to that end, the relative size and weight of this lens makes it a great option for a travel kit. You've got the rather good IQ, the typical Fujifilm build and handling. That makes an interesting proposition, but at $799, is it a fair price? Well, there isn't a direct competitor. I do own this Laowa 9mm f2.8. Very nice. That's your closest option if you want ultra wide and small. I mean, look at that. Of course, you've got the 8-16 from Fujifilm, which we took to New York, New Jersey some years back, but that's big and heavy and a lot more money. And finally, the excellent 10-24, both of them, or the Tamron 11-20, but they're bigger, not as wide, so it's not a fair comparison. This is definitely the kind of lens Fujifilm needed, and if you've got the cash, why not? But if you've tried it, we need to hear from you. Do you think it's worth it? Let us know in the comments, and I'll see you there and next week. You know what I mean.